There is nothing in the world more powerful than an idea whose time has come. And there's no time except this time that would be better to action out the words of that saying.
Well, the time has come, no more excuses. I call school to the stand and accuse him of killing creativity, individuality, and being intellectually abusive. He's an ancient institution that has outlived his usage. So, Your Honor, this concludes my opening statement, and if I may present the evidence of my case, I will prove it.
Proceed.
Protests against so-called critical race theory turned political and are putting targets on teachers' backs.
Real clear that he was black, and I was brought up to understand that it was okay to be black. South Africa owned it, but America's pathology is her denial. It is why we have to have the conversation. It is why we can never agree on what's going on, and it is why we are so angry and why some of us are so afraid.
The Republican governor's administration is blocking an advanced placement African-American history course from the state's high school curriculum. In a letter obtained by ABC News, the Florida Department of Education rejected the course, calling it inexplicably contrary to the Florida law and significantly lacks educational value.
It's not really a new thing. It is something that we have known for a long time. That's why it resonates when I speak about it. It resonates in your heart. Before you understand any of the terms or the words, it resonates in your heart. When I speak to African Americans about this, it doesn't matter who they are or how old they are. It doesn't matter where they're from, what class level they have, whatever it is. They go, yes. Yes, that's true. Of course, when I talk to white people about it, they go, that's interesting.
Is there a K-12 curriculum on critical race theory that's being taught in schools around this country?
Well, look, Joy, if it was news to most Americans that critical race theory was in K-12, it was news to me too. I'm one of the co-authors of one of the few books on critical race theory. I think I would know if we were being taught in K-12.
Going to college is not automatically a recipe for success, but it is automatically a recipe for debt. So for those young men who want to go to college, we want to give them that ability to do that, but we also want to give them other means of making an economic impact and survival plan for their lives.
I mean, basically, critical race theory, classic critical race theory is really, not taught as widely as I would hope it would. Yeah. But here's the deal. This is not about whether anything called critical race theory is in K-12. What they're calling critical race theory doesn't exist anyway. It is a backlash effort to reverse the racial reckoning unlike any we've seen in our lifetime. And as you pointed out at the beginning, they can't say, we're for racism. They can't say Derek Chauvin should have killed George Floyd with his hand in his pocket looking like he was completely without a care in the world. They couldn't say that. So they looked around and found a strange sounding theory that they could put all of the grievances and resentments in and mobilize people around this boogeyman. And if our side can't really understand what's going on, it's going to work. It's worked in the past. It worked to end Reconstruction, and it can work to end this reckoning too.
It is because of the denial that you cannot have unity without justice. You cannot have justice without the truth. You cannot tell the truth without courage, because the champions of God cannot win this war as cowards.
And what the College Board has described this course as being is a exploration of the contributions and the experiences of African Americans across this country in areas such as political science, history, arts and humanities, and geography, and lots of different things.
Americans are in the streets tonight demanding justice after the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis.
He was
districts across the country are continuing to call for reform in their education system.
2020 reignited the push to change how schools teach America's youth about race.
When you bring in different perspectives and different people's stories and experience, it enriches education. It expands all children's learning.
See each other as defined by their skin color, and to see each other as inherently different based on that skin color.
For someone to say, well, you know, I don't see skin color, I just see who you are, I think you're leaving out a really big part of who I am. You're leaving out my cultural capital.
But it's critical race theory, or CRT, which acknowledges racial disparities that have persisted in U.S. history and offers a framework to understand how racism is enforced in U.S. law and culture. There's no evidence CRT is taught in K-12 schools, but some initiatives at the K-12 level are inspired by its tenets.
And goal simply is to make sure that independent schools are building stronger bridges with families of color in culturally relevant ways. We aim to attract families of color, black and brown families who value and are willing to invest in independent school education. When we know that the challenges of structural racism is a public health crisis. The American Medical Association has proclaimed that, the CDC has proclaimed that. So to act as if racism doesn't exist and conversations around healing and belonging don't need to happen, I just don't know where they're stuck at.
You're teaching my child about race as if children don't already have their own ideas about race, right? As if children, because they're observers of the world and they learn by taking in information, they recognize what they see. They see that there are different skin colors. They've already absorbed messages about race without anyone planning for that. Enriches education. It expands all children's learning.
CRT-12.0, now available on WACPtv.Bz. Open it, teach it, learn it, expand your horizon, and get paid for your testimonies about it. Critical race theory. Say it loud.